What's up, guys? Welcome to the Custom Recap Podcast, Episode 3. My name is Aaron, otherwise known as LM9.
I'm Nate, or Nate's Minifigs.
And today we're going to be talking about some of our favorite custom LEGO minifigures we have seen over on Instagram, just so you guys over here on YouTube can get exposed to some brand new customizers. So if you guys missed episode 2, that is up on Nate's channel, so definitely give that one a watch if you haven't already. But today is a special day. We have our very first guest on the show, which is Dylan All the Most, otherwise known as TheMooseFigs.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dylan, and like he just said, I am TheMooseFigs on YouTube, Dylan All the Most on Instagram.
It's been a while since I've done a podcast with Dylan, but it's good to have him as our first guest on the show, since you probably have been doing some of the best work over in the LEGO customizing community for a while now. You're one of the big dogs over there. So it's going to be great to get your opinion on some custom LEGO figures in this episode. So we can go ahead and just get started. First, we wanted to talk about some of Dylan's work that he's been doing, and we've been touching on both of these projects throughout the past couple episodes. And the first one is your animated DC Universe figures. If you want to give us a little rundown of the first two here that we got to look at.
Yeah. On there we got Superman and the Flash right now. Superman actually took longer to do than I thought because of that cape. I don't do sculpted capes very often until like now, so took some getting used to do. It had multiple layers, but other than that, same deal as the rest of them. Got the shading, got the cartoon style. This was actually the first one I started because I did that head on Superman was the first thing I did out of all of them. Batman was the first one I posted, but I had done that head before I even started Batman, so it's kind of funny that he's probably like the second to last that I finished, even though I started him first. And then with the Flash, he actually came out better than I was expecting him to. I did not know how the rounded head and the bolts were going to look, but I think it came out fine, and especially having to paint a circular logo with yellow and white paint, which are arguably two of the worst paints to work with. It came out smoother than I thought it would as well, so I'm happy that ended up working out for that.
Better not break those bolts off of his head.
Oh no, they're on there. The bolts were dry sculpted and glued straight on, so they're pretty. I actually had to make essentially a vise because when I glued them on, they kind of stuck out a little bit.
Oh man!
So I kind of used some bricks and some of those brackets with the studs on the side to kind of squeeze them inward and put some glue over them to harden. So I left it like that overnight, so they stayed permanently like that.
On both of these figures, I love the highlights on like the left and the right of the figures. I think Superman is just on his left, or I guess his right, but on the photo it's on our left. But also those eyes on Superman, they don't have the pupils, and I think that like fits the aesthetic of this show you're going for super well. So I've loved seeing when you're putting these out, like all of the Justice League ones.
Yeah, I love the shading on these so much. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. You gotta get used to a third person here.
Really.
The interruptions are probably gonna happen. Bruce Timm's got a very specific style, and certain characters are drawn certain ways. So, like Flash and Green Lantern have similar shading, but like Superman, Batman, and the rest of them are all like one side is darker compared to the rest. So, just kind of following what he usually does, and just trying to recreate that onto a Lego figure.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I absolutely love the shading on these guys because I'm sure you like doing some paint work here and there while you were doing a lot of sculpting on some of the other figures that we're going to talk about. So it's probably nice to take a break from doing absurd amounts of sculpting. And these guys seem like they'd be a really fun project to do. So you got one left, right?
Yeah, I'm working on Hot Girl now, and I think we got a whip picture in a few minutes here that you can see where she's at because the main deal with her is her helmet. But she's the last one I plan to do for now, at least.
I think last time me and Nate guessed wrong characters. We were just like, oh, is it Aquaman or Cyborg? We had no idea who was actually in the show, so we got that dead wrong.
Yeah, I thought it was quite enjoyable that y'all guessed Cyborg, who was a character that's not even in either of those shows at all.
Oh, nice. Well, other than that,
some like Teen Titans.
Yeah, that's probably what I was thinking of was that. But the other two figures that we've been talking about over the past couple episodes was your Godzilla and your King Kong from Godzilla versus King Kong, which are some of the most ambitious sculpted figures that you've had to tackle recently, or just ever.
Yeah, definitely both recently and ever, especially Godzilla. Kong, I finished Kong first because once I got his armature together, it was just pretty much the same process as almost when I made my Chewbacca. And the fact that the legs can't move and don't come off kind of made it a little easier because it's just essentially that's where they're going to be. So Chewbacca, you had to take the legs off and everything, but the arms can still move on Kong, and his hands can still move. Even shout out Jared Figs. I used his technique for making those slightly bigger hands, so he wouldn't have little tiny Master Chief hands to aggravate Will. But Kong is, I think I like Kong a little more just because of the head. I managed to fit those open mouth and the teeth in there, and the gorilla face. It's actually sculpted over a Chima gorilla. It's hard to tell at this point, but I just kind of mangled one of those and dremeled it enough to fit that on there. And then I don't know if the scars across his chest are also, they're not carved in, they're actually sculpted like in relief upwards, how a scar would actually, like if you got scratched and it would eventually heal.
Kind of raised skin, yeah.
Yeah. And then Godzilla was just a pain because there's a Lego armature in there, but it's almost just like making a little action figure almost, especially with the tail.
Oh yeah, pretty much.
Because once I finished one section of the tail, it's pretty much just do the same thing 3 more times on the other section, and all completely around the entire thing. So yeah, and his legs can't move. Neither one of the legs can move. They're just statue figs are actually have become quite popular recently. Like particular poses for figures, that's not something that used to happen a lot at all, and it happens all the time now. So it's kind of cool to see those. So these aren't really those in that vein, but they don't really have that. Godzilla's tail can move, which was the whole point. I did it that way at least, so his tail could articulate, and his jaw can open. Fortunately, after making it and adding the jaw, it can't open as far as I wanted it to, but it can open at least some. So there is a little bit of articulation in him still, despite just the sheer amount of clay that's piled onto him.
Yeah, I was about to ask, how much does that Godzilla weigh? Have you put that on a scale yet?
I have not. I'd say he's got to be a couple grams at least. He's got to be a little heavy boy.
Oh, a couple.
I mean, he's got some weight to him. He's probably the heaviest I have, I guess. Like maybe one of the flashlight, not I say flash, yeah, the keychain flashlight. Maybe like Bumblebee would be about the same weight, but Godzilla, yeah, he's definitely got some weight if you pick him up.
You mentioned on the hands of Kong, you use like a different technique to get those a bigger size. Did you want to talk about like how did you do that? I'm actually curious because I don't know what you did for that.
So this is Jared's idea completely. Like the classic Lego coffee mug piece.
Yes, yeah.
So basically, he took one of those, cut the handle off, cut the actual mug section in half, cut a section out of the front, and that's pretty much like if you're looking down at the top of the mug, that's that shape with the section cut out. So.
Well,
and like you
pretty clever.
Glue the back of it to a hand peg. Yeah, so he did that for his All Might from My Hero Academia. So I stole that from him to do it Kong's hands.
It definitely works because he definitely needed some bigger hands on that figure.
Yeah. Well, usually it's the flashlight fig hands, but
those are probably too big.
Sometimes those are too big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, some great looking figures don't even look Lego anymore, and I mean that as a compliment, not like the Lego Puritans that are in our comments sometimes, but like those are just extremely good sculpts and great paint jobs to complement them. And like I think I gotta say I like that Godzilla a little more just because I'm more partial towards the big lizard than the big monkey in the Godzilla and Kong movies. So I just like him because I like Godzilla a little more as a character, if you can call him that. Yeah, both some great looking figures. I think we did have an edit to show too that our friend Jared, who you mentioned earlier, or Jared Figs, he did this little edit of them fighting on that aircraft carrier. So that looks very nice. And that's also serves as a great segue to talk about some of Jared's stuff, unless you had something that you wanted to say about this edit real quick.
Oh, I just wanted to say I really like this edit. I'm glad Jared did it. He had the little blue breath in Godzilla's, like he made his eye blue and like the hint of the blue breath, and I just love that he threw this edit together for me. So, but like you said, speaking of Jared, we've been mentioning him a couple times. We have some figures of his to talk about.
Yes, more anime figures from My Hero Academia. The first one I wanted to talk about was Shoto Todoroki. I think that's how you say his name. I'm not exactly sure, but that sounds right and looks right from the way he spelled it. And I just really love the colors on this. Again, I don't know anything about My Hero Academia, but just really love the colors on this guy with the blue. And he also used some of his casted elements on this as well.
I really like the hair specifically on this one. I think that the sculpting, like with the little strands blending over from the red into the white portion, came out really good, as well as the flame on the arm. I think Aaron, you'd mentioned that he like casted a bunch of clear parts. I don't know if this is one of those, but if it is, it looks really good. Same with that, like that ice effect on the bottom.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what he did. Is he just does a blank sculpt in Procreate, and then he casts it in like a translucent resin. So I'm guessing he did like a translucent blue for the ice piece, and then for the fire he did like a trans orange or a red or something like that. And then he probably used just some translucent paint to get that transition or whatever, the orange or the red highlight on the fire, and then just did some frosted stuff on that ice. But it's just such a clever thing to do for that, and it makes me want to learn to cast myself so I can do just quick little accessories like that just really make figures stand out.
So yeah, it's a really cool effect.
Yeah, I think my favorite part is definitely the fire and the ice, especially like the ice actually looks frosted and all. So I'm not sure the exact painting process he went through, but it great effect overall. Like it came out exactly how it needed to come out.
Yeah, and the next figure we had to talk about was this frog girl. I don't know her name, and I see it on the screen, but I don't know how to say it. I don't even know if I want to attempt to say it because I know I'd butcher it. But I just really like this figure because
looks like it's a tiramisu.
It looks kind of like that, but I'd let you say that instead of me. I just really like this figure because he incorporated a magnet in the head, so you can attach a tongue to the mouth, so it can be a separate accessory piece, which I just think is great to see that type of functionality in a figure like that.
Yeah, I love the sculpting on this one with the hair. The magnet, like you talked about, is really clever. I think Dylan mentioned that the like statues are becoming more of like a staple with the customizer community, and I think like using magnets for like arm joints or for like little accessories like this is becoming more common. And I think like the more of that there is, the more I like to see. So I don't know how small those magnets had to be in that tongue, but it's super impressive that it is able to like clip on like that. I also like the carved out waistline on this. Really gives like a good posture to the figure that's different from like a normal standard one. And I'm not sure. It kind of looks like the arms are like a little bit extended to look longer, but if they're not, I think still looks like really cool as well. The gloves have some nice sculpting on there too.
Yeah, the arms are definitely on a ball joint system too, I think.
Yeah, they're definitely. I was going to mention the ball joints because I'm not sure if he did the skeleton joint or if he did a long time ago. Jared did the Maui he made for me. It's a ball joint, but the socket is actually like the top of a leg joint, like the hollow part at the top of a leg piece. One of those lever pieces will fit in there like a ball joint too. So I think he probably had to do skeleton joint because I don't think the leg piece would have fit in there.
Yeah, overall, just some great looking figures from Jared. I can't wait to see what else he has to make. I know he's got like 1 million of these figures that he wants to make from My Hero. So I'm excited to see him finally paint up some of those sculpts he's had sitting around for a while. But we wanted to move on to our friend Tristan, or Custom Brick Builder. He's been recently doing a lot of resin printed figures and 3D designing and stuff. So we wanted to touch on some of his stuff that he's had coming out here recently. The first one, Dylan, I know you'll want to talk a lot about, is his Pong Krell. So I'll go ahead and just give you the floor since Pong Krell is one of your favorite characters in the Clone Wars.
Oh yeah, well, Pong Krell was one of my favorite Star Wars characters as a whole. I don't know why I like that guy so much. He's such a bad person. That sounds stupid, but but he's just so awful. I love it. He's such a sleazeball. And I love this figure because I made a Pong Krell a long time, like 2 or 3 years at this point, and this is the first one I've seen really besides I think Tim's since then. And I just really love this because he actually, like, I'm not sure where he got the model from, but it's the model of Dexter Jettster from the LEGO Star Wars game, which is just kind of an iconic character at this point because LEGO's never made that figure themselves, but like everyone memes it and loves the Dexter Jettster model in that game. So this is kind of funny to see that in person finally, like used for Pong Krell. And I just love how it came out, and I love the colors on it. That the dark orange color personally is one of my favorite colors anyway. So like the fact that Pong Krell's robes are also that color just kind of hit home with me. So and just everything about it. We only got the one picture, but if you look at his post, like there's pictures of the arms in like a neutral pose, and you can see like how they overlap each other. And like, I think he did that better than I did a couple years ago. Like just the arms look in a more natural position, and like I think I like the proportions on this one more. It just seems to fit better. Like everything works. I don't know how to describe it, but it's very pleasing for me.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it has like a simple kind of, I wouldn't say like too simple, but it's got kind of like an animated look to it, which I think blends really well, especially using that the game model headpiece works extremely well with that.
It's very Lego-y still, despite being a full-on custom.
I think Dylan mentioned the placement of the arms on this. I think like there's a lot of like customs that involve like 4 arms, and I think a lot of them look kind of awkward looking, but this one looks super natural. Not supernatural, but very natural. They all look like they work together, and like they're not like colliding in an awkward way. So I think that's probably my favorite part about this guy is the way that the arms are set in there.
Just looking at it makes me want to get one of those headpieces to make an actual Dexter Jetster figure, just because this is so nice looking and finally good to see. I think a couple of people have resin printed it in the past, but I'd like to get one from Tristan here pretty soon because that's just too funny. But some other stuff that Tristan's been working on is some droid models. If you guys saw on my Instagram, I was doing some work with some of his Magna Guards, which I'll be showing later. But he's also made a Dark Trooper model and a Commando droid model. And I think he's just been working with a different designer on these and then kind of scaling them down and making them a little bit more proportional with Lego, and then adding the Lego-ized joints for the shoulders, the elbows, the knees, the hips, and then giving them more Lego style hands and feet. And these are just some great looking models, and I just wanted to touch on them just because I thought they were super cool looking, and it's great to get some more realistic style droids out in the Lego community.
Yeah, I really like the Dark Trooper, especially. I got one from him. He recently sold these, and mine's on its way, I believe. At least if it's not, it'll be soon. So I'm excited to get one of those and actually paint one up because I quite like the Dark Trooper, especially.
Especially talking about that Dark Trooper, I think it's really cool that he used a model from another designer that this is like for an action figure, so it's like 1-to-1, and then scaling it down using those like droid feet is cool. One thing I do kind of wish that was an option with these is that the left hand is kind of like rotated by 90 degrees and like it's not articulated. So I do wish that these came with like an option to have at least both of those. I know that's kind of like the traditional Lego style, but I think it looks really great. Just that hand always really rubs me the wrong way on the left. But I think the overall proportions and also just how it's like jointed and superposable is super awesome. Both the other droid as well looks really good. I think he has a bunch more of these, like different droids either coming soon or he already has posted them. But he's doing a lot of cool stuff with the resin printed parts. So
yeah, he's got the Magna Guard, and I think he's doing a tactical droid. He's got a normal battle droid, I think, coming soon. I'm not exactly sure if he's been working on that or not, but I know he has a super battle droid that's like stylized like the Clone Wars.
Yeah, that one is looking great.
Yeah, and then he might be doing a super tactical
I don't think I've seen that one
at some point. Yeah, that was one he did a little while ago, but I think he's just been kind of pushing the main 3, like the Dark Trooper, the Magna Guards, and the Commando droids. And I think he's doing a Droidica at some point, which is going to be really exciting because I'll definitely pick up a few of those. Lord. Yeah, if you can make that thing roll into a ball, that'd be insane.
I imagine I'll have to, right? Like he can't do that without doing that, right?
It doesn't have to, but
it has to. If you're watching this, I'm calling you out. You got to do it.
Hell, he could even probably like just print one that's in a ball and it's just like one solid piece. Actually, that probably would be impossible.
It's like a Bakugan.
But yeah, that'd be great. So I'm excited to see what other droids he's got cooking up for us. But moving on to our next customizer, we've got some stuff from LQ Customs. The first one we want to talk about was some of his figures from Fight Club. I think he posted these like right before we recorded last time, so we missed these. But we want to include these anyway, just because I thought these were great. So this is the narrator and Tyler Durden from Fight Club. And I just think that the paintwork on these is just great as always, and the likenesses are super spot on. I just really like the colors on these guys too.
I love the jacket on Tyler Durden. I guess I never realized that there isn't a name for the character of like the dude Edward Norton plays, but
Yeah.
it's kind of funny to learn, I guess. The likenesses for Brad Pitt and Edward Norton are both spot on, and that jacket, I love there's like a light red highlight running along the black against the darker maroon, and I think that works really well. So
Yeah, you mentioned the red highlight. I've seen a couple of people start adopting that into their painting styles, which is something I've never done myself personally. It's cool to see people doing that to add just that little hint of more detail to them. And I can't tell personally what the design on the T-shirt of Tyler Durden is, but I can tell it is like a detailed paint job on there too. I personally haven't seen Fight Club just yet. I'm aware of these two, but so I'm not sure exactly what that's supposed to be. But I appreciate the detail of the T-shirt under the jacket as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure exactly what that is, but yeah, you guys hit it on the head there. Just absolutely love those highlights, especially like Nate was saying on the jacket. But another figure we want to talk about was his Travis Bickle from Taxi Driver. This is one of those kind of statue figures that we've been talking about a little later, where it's posed, and it's just a cool, really cool style. And I just love the little diorama piece that he made for this as well. You don't really see that too often, like a whole set piece just for one figure. So I just really wanted to touch on that.
yeah, the hand on this is like super, super modified, giving it even like a thumb and like a pointing out finger. And usually that's kind of like off-putting to me when I see people like kind of mess up the minifig hand, and it kind of looks like kind of odd with the aesthetic. But this doesn't for some reason. I think something about the way that the arm is posed and like just the fact that it is statue, like those legs are bent and everything kind of works together. It looks super like works really well. It doesn't look off-putting or whatever. And I love that little mohawk added on top as well.
And I think you mentioned the diorama because I think my favorite part of the whole thing is the blood on the wall behind him and like the painting above him, like just little details like that too for the diorama itself.
Yeah, like I was saying, just a super clean paint job, like always from Lucas. He just does some absolutely great line work. That's on the torso, just looks incredible, and I love all the little blood stains on his shirt as well. The next figures we want to talk about were from the Inner Whale Customs. First off is this Ahsoka from The Mandalorian that he made. Again, I think last time we had an Ahsoka on the show, I'm not exactly sure who it was. I think it was Aussie Figs.
I feel like it was Aussie Figs.
Yeah, it definitely was. But this is another one. I haven't really seen too many of these, out in the community before, so it's great to finally see some start popping up. I think this one has some great sculpted headpiece things on it. I always forget what they're called. They're either Leku or Montrails. Not exactly sure.
Leku. I don't know.
It could be. I always just mess it up, but yeah, I think the sculpt work on that looks great, and I just love the paintwork as well on the torso, especially with all of the wrinkles and stuff on her, on her torso piece.
Yeah, I think this almost looks exactly like Aussie Figs. I'm going to have to say I like the Aussie Figs one a bit more because of the stuff done with the torso and the 3D elements. But this one looks just as accurate to the source material. It's just a different style, which is cool to see. People doing the same figure, but comes out looking a little bit differently. I really like those little lightsabers. They're super minimalist, but kind of maybe if Lego made the Ahsoka blades, that's what they'd end up looking like. So I appreciate that type of aesthetic going on with those. The clear blades look cool in that as well. So yeah, the headpiece, I don't know what they used as a base or whatever, but the shaping looks really good. And I think there's a lot of people I've seen a lot of work in progress from people doing the headpiece, their headdress thing. And I think so far, like everyone's done a good job of making it look unique to their own style and also pretty accurate at the same time. So overall, I really like this Ahsoka.
Yeah, I think the headpiece is a modded one, like the Shock T or the official one. I think the things on the front are shortened. I may be wrong, but I think it's the official one with some sculpting onto it. But I always want to give props when I can because I know anytime you're painting over white paint or white paint's involved, it's a pain. So props for painting those blue stripes onto that white headpiece because I'm pretty sure white paint was involved with that too. So anytime someone could get a clean paint job involving white paint, always props. And I'm pretty sure the face is also, if I'm not sure about the eyes, but I think the whole face is painted as well. On this one, it doesn't look like the official head, so I think he painted that entire face too. So that came out really well as well.
And then another figure from Inner Whale was this Stalker from The Last of Us. I've never really played The Last of Us. I've played a little bit of the first game, but like I'm not really super into it. But I just thought this was another one of those cool posed figures that's a little unique because you don't really see too many people doing Last of Us figures. So I thought this would be a really cool one to just touch on really quick, since it's got some cool sculpting and just an overall grungy look to it.
Yeah, I've never played it either. Not too big of like a zombie fan in like any regard, but something I do like about this figure is the arms. Those hands, I'm pretty sure, are like taken from either like a droid arm, or I'm not sure, but they're definitely not the minifig arms or
might
the
be a
hands.
skeleton,
right? Okay, that's probably what it is. But I think it's cool. They're like a little bit thinner than minifig hands or arms would be. So it's cool to see. Like looks a little bit like scrawnier with that.
Yeah, and all I want to touch on is I'm not too familiar with The Last of Us as well, but I know that, this is one of the variations of the clickers and all, so they're got the fungus stuff all over them. But I always appreciate a good just creature, just, or an organic creature, no matter what reference it's from. They always, most of the time, when someone makes a figure like that out of Lego, they always just come out cool because you can just do any texturing, paint jobs. They always come out neat. And Innerwell's really good at that. I think he's made a couple Last of Us creatures like this, and they always come out cool.
Haven't you made a Joel and Ellie before, like several of them?
Yeah, I have, and I'm pretty sure Jared has.
And you haven't played the game?
I mean, I've watched it. I pulled a Nick and I watched them. I've seen them. I don't have a PlayStation.
All right. Fair, whatever.
That's me with every PlayStation game. I wish I could play. I just don't have the ability to because I'm not willing to put down the money.
Or the time, even now. Probably
Pretty
don't
much
have
watched
time.
a 4-hour movie. That's all it was, pretty much. Or however long the game was. I don't know.
That would have been a great segue into stuff from the Snyder Cut, but that's later in this show. So damn it, Dylan, you spoiled it.
I mean, I could say it again. Just let me know.
The other segue I have planned is these from the Last of Us stuff over to this Joel from The Last of Us 2, which is made by JTMM_customs. I just thought this was a pretty simple looking figure, and I just loved like the simplistic look of the paint job on the torso especially, and then the beard sculpt is really nice and it blends with that hair really well.
Yeah, I'm always commenting on nice hair sculpts because they're pretty difficult to pull off when it comes to like if you're going to use an existing piece. And I feel like this hair sculpt is using, especially on the right side of this figure, or I guess we're looking at the left side, but the figure's right side. I think this is an existing hair piece, and then they sculpted on that little kind of stuff hair coming down towards the eye. And I think this is like a really nice blend. I love how it transitions into the beard, and that scarf is really nice as well.
Yeah, I personally hate doing hair sculpts. It's probably of my sculpting, stuff. It's the hardest thing I still have a hard time with. So yeah, I always enjoy when people can pull off a nice hair sculpt. So it came out really good on this figure, especially. I like when people do sculpted beards too every once in a while. So I like that how they flow into each other.
Another figure with some kind of funny-looking sculpted hair is this Jack Sparrow from Dead Man's Chest by Casimus Lego. I think I've been wanting to include some of his stuff for a little while now, and they posted a new figure finally because I've been waiting for a little bit for them to post something. But this Jack Sparrow's got a little bit of a sculpted goatee from what it looks like, and I thought that was a pretty nice little feature on that. And then just the 3D elements, especially with the jacket and the belt and all the scabbards and stuff, just look great on the rest of the figure.
Yeah, I love that jacket and the goatee. The facial expression I think is done really well. I think I love Dylan actually did one a while ago, which is like a breathtaking figure. The sculpt work done on his is like really, really good. But this also has like a very distinct style of its own, so you could definitely tell them apart. But I love that jacket, how it kind of flows down and comes over the belt piece. Those straps done over the belt I think are really cool too. There's like a lot of fine detail with those black outlines on those buckles. I think it's a really cool figure, and I just like how they use the Lego hair piece, but they also painted over it, and it's very unique to their own style.
Yeah, and you mentioned mine that I made, because I know what he did. He went with the darker nougat skin tone, which was something I considered on mine. I was on the fence about it. I ended up just using the flesh and I think giving it a wash, but I do like that he did go with the darker skin tone too, just because Johnny Depp, especially in Curse of the Black Pearl, is like very tan. So that skin color does fit very well for him, especially in that first movie. So I like that he did go with that skin color for it.
Yeah, I'm actually working on a set of figures right now where I was like highly debating if I should use like a darker skin tone or like a lighter one. And so I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with a lighter one, but like it's that weird in between if the figure is or the character is like super tan, what to use and what not to use. But yeah,
Which figures?
it's going to be from the Frenemies podcast.
Oh,
it's
right.
Ethan and Trisha. Yeah, so Trisha is like, it just depends. Like sometimes she has like a crazy tan, sometimes she's just super like pasty. So it just I didn't really know which one to go with, but I ended up just painting over like a regular flesh head, and I think it came out fine. So that's what I'm going to end up using. But yeah, I think this is cool how they incorporated the darker flesh into this one.
I'm usually too scared to do stuff like that, albeit I've never really had to do this for a figure, but painting a skin tone like that just seems scary because I always mess up on mouths whenever I paint them, and it takes me a few tries, so I feel like I'd just constantly be painting over it or trying to rub it off. So I give props to Casmus here for actually doing that well and probably painting that mouth on a one of his first tries. Moving on to our next figure, this is Jacob Lee from the film Minari by Brickophilia. I know you're a big fan of Brickophilia, especially Nate. So if you want to
Definitely
start us off on this guy, love to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, Minari was actually one of my favorite films of this year, and I was not expecting anyone to make figures from it. So really cool to see Brickophilia actually making a figure from it. And they in the film, he's kind of like a farmer, and he tries to make some produce to make a living and whatnot. So it's really cool to see that basket of vegetables. I think a lot of the painting on that is done really cool. The arrangement of how they're placed in there is nice. I think that piece is for like the bucket is like one of those crates. I don't know what they're from, but I remember there's a lot of them featured in the Indiana Jones sets.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to really like that piece. So it's cool. I think that's cut in half and painted up. I like the two-tone look on that. The highlight of this figure for me has to be around the belt section where that shirt is kind of pulled down over the belt and the wrinkles. You can see like towards the side of the figure, the wrinkles like kind of even extend to the side. I think it looks super like realistic how a shirt would fall. Also, there's like the subtlest little shadow under the collar. I think we talked about that last episode on a couple figures, which is really cool to see. Just like a really subtle effect to like indicate that the collar's a little popped up higher. So I think this is really cool. I just think it's one of the coolest figures to see made from him, just because I did not expect to see Minari figures ever. So it's just really nice to see some unique stuff made, which is everything he makes is like super out of randomness. So it's really cool to see this.
Yeah, I was going to say that torso is probably one of my favorite painted torsos I've ever seen in my whole life. Just with the shading on the collar, just gives it this great like 3D stylized look that Lego would probably incorporate in their printing. And then also just that fold over the belt is just done so fantastically. I just cannot believe how good that looks.
Yeah, everything else that I agree with. That the wrinkles over the belt, the shirt collar. I love the little basket. That's my favorite part. The color of the shirt satisfying. I'm pretty sure this is Steven Yeun,
Yeah.
and that likeness to him is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Brickophilia is also one of my favorites. You never know what he's going to make. There was a period where it was superhero stuff, but now recently it's just you really never know what he's going to post. It's all over the place, so it's always cool to see. Even if I have no clue what it is like this, it's always just neat to see what he posts.
Yeah, I heard Minari was like an absolutely amazing film, and it's one of those A24 films, right? So it's probably got a little bit of like an indie vibe to it. And yeah. So it's something I definitely love to check out. And Nate, you said you've seen it, right?
Yeah, I can't recommend it enough. I think it's a really great character drama, and it's highlighting. It's a Korean family that immigrate to the U.S., and it's really, really like interesting writing, and I think acting is like superb in this. So if you guys haven't seen it and are interested in any A24 films in the past, like definitely give this one a watch. It's one of the best films made or distributed by A24.
Yeah, I think Steven Yeun is the first Asian American to get nominated for an Oscar, right, for the lead actor.
I haven't checked Oscar nominations, but if that's true, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's something like that where he made history basically with Minari. So
wow, it's cool.
I'm not exactly sure if it's that exact nomination, but I'm pretty sure it is. But still, that's That's very cool to see him, because Dylan and I grew up watching The Walking Dead when that was a big thing, and so it's great to see Steven Yeun actually progress past that and do something a lot better.
Yeah, and his performance in Minari is really, really stellar. I think that like everyone in that movie like pulls off their roles like, extremely well. So definitely check it out.
Hell yeah. Well, moving on to the next figure, I think we talked about seeing more of these Scarlet Witch figures from WandaVision last time. We were figuring that we're going to see more pop up here pretty soon, and this is probably the best one I have seen. This is by LEGO Minifigures Arts Customs over on Instagram, and this figure just looks absolutely insane. This guy just does just some great work with their cloth work, because all of the 3D elements on this are essentially cloth, and I think they use a Lego sail for a good majority of it, but somehow it's so clean, so sharp, and so thin too. So I'm not exactly sure what paint they use or anything like that, but this just looks incredible.
Yeah, the colors on this are super nice. I'm really liking that accessory of the book. It looks like all tattered and kind of like rotten. It's really cool. And then I love those, whatever it is in the hands. I'm sure it's like a item that the figure can hold. It's like all spattery and lightningy and going everywhere. I'm sure it's her powers.
Yeah.
I think it looks really, really cool. I think that those two accessories for me is like my favorite part about this. But you're mentioning like the 3D parts about everything being fabric. I love seeing when people do that. There is a customizer out there. His name is like Raccoon Customs or something. They don't really post too much anymore, but they used to do a lot of Marvel figures, and they actually use like some sort of paper, and they layer it. So I think it's cool to see something like this using a different material other than clay or green stuff or whatever. I think it's cool to see different textures used on figures, which is nice. So I really like this figure.
Going third, I feel like I'm in a breakout group, and I'm just agreeing. But yeah, I like the
Broken record.
I like the effect parts. I'm not sure how he made those. Like, I know a lot of people do I think like dried hot glue sometimes, or some kind of resin. I'm not sure if he did that, but those are really neat. And then I remember he had because I follow this guy on Flickr, and like I don't know if he posted on Instagram, but he showed a breakdown photo of how he wanted to make this figure, and like he wanted to like use one of the Thorin Oakenshield, I think that's his name, the Hobbit guy, like the one. It's that hairpiece, but it has a crown molded into it. I'm honestly not sure if he ended up using that one, because that is the same hairpiece, but that just looks like the Lego one that's molded in that color and not the black one. So I think he wanted to use that hairpiece, but I think he did initially plan to like use that Thorin hairpiece for it. It's just kind of cool that he showed his thought process before actually making it.
Yeah, it's always cool to see them planning ahead like that, because especially with this guy, I'm not sure exactly how he gets stuff looking so thin, but I'm glad that I guess they have the foresight to plan that far ahead, because usually when I make stuff, I'm just like, I've got a vague idea of what I want to do, and I'll try it out, and if it doesn't work, then I'll have to start all over. But going in with a plan is definitely good on that figure. But we do have some more Marvel figures to check out real quick. The first up is this Juggernaut from EA Customs. This is just a very unique figure. I've never really seen a lot of custom big figs out there recently, and I've never really seen one made of a Juggernaut. And I'm guessing this is from like the classic X-Men comics or the show. I'm not exactly sure, but it's still great to see something like that. And I think the headpiece on this is removable, so you can see a head underneath that. And this is just painted over a Hulk figure, which is super awesome.
Yeah, anytime there's like a removable anything on big figs, it's really impressive, because it is like a larger figure. So it's cool to see that helmet's all sculpted. It is like a little bubbly, so it does look a little like a bit goofy, but I'm sure like to the reference material maybe like they're looking at, it's probably accurate. But I like a lot of the 3D elements sculpted on this, and there's some clean lines on that chest. So
yeah, overall really clean. Big figs are always fun to do. You get more space to work around. So it's personally, when I'm doing a big fig, I have fun with them. So, but yeah, this one came out pretty cool.
I don't think I've ever done a custom big fig before, and it's probably something I'll never have to do, considering I just do Star Wars stuff.
Too busy doing Star Wars, and
Too bad. Another figure is also another variation of like a big fig, and that's the Sentinel done by LLC Figs. And this is I think it's a flashlight figure, and it's just they didn't have any pictures of this stacked up against like a normal minifigure, but I'm pretty sure it was either a keychain or flashlight or something like that in the description. But it's cool to see a Sentinel done in that scale if it is that big. And I just love like the simple sculpt on this because it keeps that animated vibe going, and just the paintwork is very nice and cartoony.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a flashlight fig. I've used those a couple times for at least 4 or 5 figures in the past. So they're I think they're a lot more fun to do actually than the big fig mold, just because they are more like a normal minifigure. But so yeah, I always appreciate seeing those floating around in the community.
Yeah, kind of piggybacking off what you just said, Dylan. I think anytime there's like a bigger like figure or character, I always prefer when people use the flashlight figures. I know they're not as accessible to people who are like going to be making customs, just because big figs come in sets. So I'm sure everyone has like 1 or 2 lying around. I think I have like 1 from the Monkey Kid sets. That's like the first one I have ever owned was I don't remember the character, but it's some blue dude. But I'm sure a lot of people have the big figs lying around, but not as many people are going to go out of their way to buy the flashlight ones. So I think when I do see like bigger characters, I love to see them in flashlight figure form, especially like Thanos. I know a lot of people made him with a big fig, but I think that the flashlight figure is like a lot more appealing.
I'd agree.
For proportion wise. Yeah, I don't know. That's my opinion, but I think that being said, there are characters that do look good with the big fig base, but I'd say like 80% of the time I like to see them made with a flashlight. So this Sentinel looks really cool. I like a lot of the sculpting on it, and just like that it uses the base of the flashlight.
You're going to love this segue. You're talking about flashlights. Well, here's the Flash by non-figs from Zack Snyder's Justice League. You guys like that?
Boo.
You like that? That was amazing. Come on, that was funny. Anyway, horrible jokes aside, this is a great figure by AJ. Love the minimal sculpt on this, and just the paintwork looks like it's a pain to do, especially with all the little wires and stuff that he's got running across the suit. I don't even know what they are, but such a cool looking figure.
Yeah, a lot of intricate details on this one. I think it's such a small thing, but my favorite part about this is that brow line. There's like a highlight of red. I love when people are able to like do a little bit of tiny details that really make the figure like look that much better. So just that brow line for me is my favorite part. Those gray, I don't know if those are sculpted or painted. They look painted, but those gray little wires are really cool too.
I can't tell. Like I think, even beyond the gray lines, there's little nicks of like chipped metal and stuff too on the red between those, just to give it some more like damage and depth. And I like how those came out too.
Yeah, finishing up with the Flash, I've got some other DC figures lined up. The first one is the Martian Man Hunter by the Brick Reviewer 101. This is a great looking figure. Haven't seen a lot of Martian Man Hunter figures, and I'm guessing this is the one from the. Is this the one from the Snyder Cut, Dylan?
Yeah, it has to be. No, I don't know any
like
other sleeveless Martian Man Hunters.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. That was a thing, but yeah, he looks great. I just love the simple little paint job on this figure, and it was one of the first ones I had seen from the Snyder Cut. So I just thought it was cool to include.
I think the face on this is like my favorite part about this guy. The eyes, especially, you probably painted in over whatever gray or grayish green head this was. I liked how that came out. The expression of the mouth and the jaw, like on either of the cheeks, is nice, and those brow like little. I don't know, little brain-looking things on top. Those are cool too.
Yeah, and I like that he tried to match that similar thing on the arms.
Yeah, like the little weird skin things that he's got raised up on his arms.
His veins.
Yeah, veins.
Whatever the Martian has.
Yeah. Oh, man. But, yeah, I thought that was a cool figure to include. Another cool DC figure is this Bane by Superverse Customs. I believe this is just a, like, random iteration of Bane. I don't think it's based off of anything in particular, but I just thought the white paint on the mask was especially clean, and the muscle paint job was pretty good on the torso. So I thought it was a fun one to include.
Yeah, I think this is a a verse vein, I guess you could say, because I don't recognize this Bane as like a definite version of him, but I do think he used one of those minifig cat ski masks based off the shape of the eye holes, because I've used those before. So I like that he used one of those to make the mask, and I'm assuming that mask is also removable because of that.
You were just mentioning that that's using that minifig cat mask, and I was thinking that this was a flashlight figure for some reason.
It kind of looks like it. There's something with the photo where it looks bigger, but I don't think it is. I think it's just a normal figure.
Yeah, it doesn't have the little square in the middle of the chest unless he filled the scene.
I was totally under the impression this was a flashlight.
No, it's definitely not. You can look at the legs and you can tell by the legs it doesn't have the right cut to be a flashlight figure. It's just the normal.
Isn't there something
legs.
about like the crotch portion on the flashlights that's like more square?
Yeah, the crotch is a lot. Yeah, it's a lot wider on those.
Well, yeah, I really like, my favorite part about this is the collarbone. There's like nice highlights of that darker flesh tone, as well as like the arms, the muscles had that same little effect right there. But especially those like I guess like the neck muscles coming up looks really good. A lot of the sculpting on this. I don't know if like the pec area is sculpted. It kind of looks like
I think it is. I think it is.
It's really subtle, but I think that's cool as well.
It definitely makes him look a little more jacked up. But next one is I think our final DC figure, and that is Darkseid by _Zeus. This is one that Dylan brought to my attention when we were putting together this slideshow or whatever, picking out all these figures. And this figure, it uses a lot of like Lego elements in it, like especially stuff from Nexo Knights, which I thought was it was really creative, and you don't really see a lot of people doing that anymore. You just see them just sculpting armor, just how it's supposed to look. But like this guy's just using stuff as disposal, and it looks great.
See, I really like this thing. It reminds me of like the semi-pure stuff I do a lot. Just using like Lego parts and painting them a little bit. Because this is definitely one of those Nexo Knight things. I can't tell. I have one of these pieces, but I haven't really fiddled around with it much. But I'm pretty sure he made it where the arms can rotate at right under the shoulder, so you can have the arms behind the back or like normal. I don't think they're permanently like that because there was a picture, like a whip picture, where he showed them normal. So either he added like a pin in there to do that, or those arms can already rotate like that. I'm honestly not certain, but either way, I like how the arms are, because Darkseid's classic pose is arms behind the back. So it's really cool that he did that. And it's also worth noting that the legs themselves and the bottom half of the torso were also widened a little bit to fit proportion wise. So they are a little bigger than standard legs.
Yeah, I think like a lot of customs have the same silhouette like of the classic minifigure. So it's really cool to see when people use these like unique pieces to create a different silhouette. I think like this one is a really specific piece from Nexo Knights that is supposed to be like a huge armored up character, and it really fits for Darkseid. So it's nice to see like someone using this. I don't think I've ever seen a custom before that's used this like a little torso add-on. So I just really enjoy seeing different silhouettes for figures. I think looking at this, it could be definitely used for like Warhammer Marines. I'm not like super familiar with that the Warhammer thing, but like those arms are looking really nice. So I think it would be cool to see more people in the future use like different pieces. But yeah, those legs being widened, I think it actually helps a lot. You might not even be able to tell, like you were saying, Dylan, but without them being widened, I think like the silhouette on the bottom would look really awkward looking. So it's nice that they were able to like pick up on that and then adjust accordingly. So I really like this Darkseid. I think it's cool that they did that with the torso and the legs widening.
I like what you're saying with the Warhammer Marine part, because I never really thought of that. It'd be cool to kind of see like a Legoized version of that, which I don't think I've ever seen before. But moving on to our boy Fishy Figs, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about from Fishy, so we'll try to run through this as quick as we can. But like always, Fishy's great at doing likenesses. So the first one we wanted to touch on was his Bob Wiley and Dr. Leo Marvin from the film What About Bob? So this is Bill Murray and Richard Dreyfuss. And I haven't seen this film, but I just wanted to say that these likenesses are just absolutely perfect, like usual. I feel like we say that every single time. And also the paintwork on the "Don't Hassle Me, I'm Local" and the baby steps is just really nice with that lettering.
Yeah, I used to watch this movie a lot when I was younger, and I still really love it till today. I think, like, I don't know if there's ever going to be a better Bill Murray likeness out there. Super, super good. The hair on that is also awesome. I think, like you're talking about, those letters, super crisp. And I find like whenever there's a character, if I want to do and they have like a letters on a shirt or something, I'm kind of like discouraged to do it because it's really hard to paint such small like textile fonts on like minifig torsos especially. So it's super impressive that Fishy was able to do that. So also I like the jacket on the other dude. I think it's a really cool likeness on him as well. That hair is awesome sculpting, and both these figures are just like the perfect iteration of these guys. So
one quick thing, Fishy did do the thing we talked about last time with the tie, with the shadowing, with the, I guess, going down kind of like the center. I think we mentioned that last time. So that's a cool. I can't remember if it was one of Fishy's figs or not, but it's just great to see that style or that technique translated over to another figure.
Yeah, I've only seen this movie once ever. It's been a long time, but I do that Bill Murray likeness. No matter, I mean, Bill Murray looks the same pretty much, most of the time. So the likeness to Bill Murray is spot on. And Fishy's always good at that. And we got a couple more Fishy figs. I'm going to take advantage of going third to transition into the next figure, which is the Bob Ross he made, which he made an easel. He made a little painting for it and everything. I think he cut the palette out of a clear piece of plastic and added all the colors on there, which just glancing at it, I'm pretty sure those are the legit colors he would have used for that episode anyway, because Bob Ross only had a very particular palette. Most any colors were mixed anyways, so pretty sure those are the colors he would have used. He sculpted his own hairpiece for it. He's got an insanely satisfying torso, like the baggy collar from like the shirt, like buttoned down almost halfway down. So it's just insanely satisfying to look at. Excuse me. He's got the little hint of sculpted chin beard and all for his beard and all his goatee kind of thing. He sculpted the hairpiece, so just really satisfying. And he's even got the little fade of the jeans at the very bottom, the brim of the jeans, like where they're faded.
Yeah, I also really like. Is that a brush or is that a scraper that he has, like a paint scraper?
It's
like a really. I think
that's supposed to be a brush because the scraper would be like a metal.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah,
it'd be silver, so that's got to be a brush.
Would have been funny if he added a little paint to the side of the easel, so where he's beating the hell out of his brush, beat the devil out of it. Is that what he said? Yeah, beat the devil out of it. Yeah. Would have been cool to do that, but overall, that's just, I think you hit every little detail we could have possibly talked about on that figure. It just looks great, and the likeness is great as always. But another stylized figure that he did was the Shaggy and the Scooby, and he did these in an animated style, which I thought was very unique because I don't know if we've ever really seen the whole gang in a while. I think Brickophilia did one a little while ago. Yep. But it's cool to see them done again. Okay.
End of last year, which is it's cool to see two different takes on it because this looks completely different from Brickophilia's, but it's also clearly classic Shaggy.
Yeah, these figures are really nice, especially the Scooby. I think is like really cool. I think you might notice a lot of the details done on it. There's a lot of black outlines from the side, and also like the mouth area and whatnot. The face on this is a little jarring to me. I think like anytime I've seen noses or like extended jaws or something, it really like makes me feel uncomfortable. But I think like it's done really well, but like not my personal taste. The hair though, especially, is super nice on that Shaggy. It's just I wish it was done with like a standard Lego head and it would be a perfect figure. But that being said, I think like I'm probably in the minority there. I think most people look at this and think it's awesome. So
yeah, I mean, regardless, it's a great paint job on the face, no matter if you are a fan of the style or not. But just like the paint work is super clean, and the sculpt work is great as always. But Dylan, we've got one more figure, and I'm just going to leave this all to you to talk about because this figure was a commission that Fishy did for you. So if you want to just briefly talk about it, you can go ahead and do it. Just because I think it was a funny figure.
Yeah, so this figure exists. I don't even know if he saw the video before I brought it up, but essentially, there's a video of a man being tased by police, and the man just does not hesitate. And as he's being tased, he poses with his cigarette, and he says, "I get you, bitch." And it's an amazing video, legendary guy. And the video was sent. Fishy saw it. I kind of jokingly said, "Someone make this," and Fishy agreed. And maybe like a day and a half later, this fully fledged figure was created of this man from this like 30-second clip. Don't know the guy's real name. No idea the context for the clip. He might have murdered someone legit and like not deserved to be idolized this way. But going off that strictly that 30-second clip, Fishy made this, and it's quite humorous. And he's got the happy trail. He's got the sagging man tits down there. He used his own brown color. He does this a lot. He'll paint his own skin color for a lot of figures. So like, pretty sure this is a mix, or even if it's not mixed, like the entire head and hands and all was painted that color. So the fact that it's as clean as it is on the face, painting over a painted color is very impressive.
I just keep looking at this and I laugh. Everyone I've ever,
yeah, I don't. Are you gonna? I don't know if you'll.
I don't know if I want to put the video in there, but
the video in there and not
look at it if they want.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's very unique. I'll say that. Very unique.
It's nice to see some, I guess, less serious customs done. I guess sometimes there's like a precedent that you got to make a figure based on like a movie or a game or something, but it's nice to see other stuff like this out there. So I think that shirt, like hanging down, I don't know if it's a paper or fabric or whatever, but I think it looks really good. The expression on this is nice, and that little cigarette hanging off is nice as well.
Yeah. Well, coming off of Fishy Figs, we've got his counterpart, Tossy Figs. Seems like we always do these two together just because they're always so good at doing likenesses. So we kind of like lump them in the same kind of vein, I guess. But here we've got a couple figures from Austin Powers. This is Austin Powers. Looks absolutely great. Comes with his nice pump accessory.
Cock pump.
Like always, the likeness, the accessory is, it's definitely interesting. But the face on this is something I really wanted to touch on just because that's a ridiculously good likeness on that, especially with the mouth.
The face, is awesome. I think the highlight of this for me is the sculpted hair and that little, I don't know what that would be called, that little like tuft of stuff hanging out at the neck. But the hair, it's not only like an incredible sculpt, but it's got like nice paintwork in the creases to make it look even that much better. So I don't know if this has like a base hairpiece underneath, but it looks awesome. I love the flow of it. And also that little tuft of stuff coming out. The background of this photo is like super glittery, which is cool. I think it fits like the theme of the character. I know.
I was literally about to say that.
Yeah. He's done. I don't know if it was the Uncut Gems figure, but he used like a similar glittery background for another figure. I think it's cool to see that variation. Not too many people do anything other than just like a solid color or like a black background. So I like the photo as well as those sculpted bits I mentioned.
Literally cannot have anything. I thought I was going to mention the background on purpose because I didn't think one of you was going to talk about the background, and even I still can't even get that. So I'm still just repeating something that y'all said. But yeah, a solid.
Do you like the figure, Dylan?
Yeah, spot on likeness. And, perfect. Yeah, perfect. Austin Powers, and he's got a nice little penis pump.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, it was inevitable. Well, Dylan, since we kind of took everything you wanted to say for Austin Powers, how about you get us started on this figure from No Country for Old Men from Tossy?
Yeah, so we got Anton over here. This is a movie I still want to watch. I kind of seen clips and all, of course, but it's a movie I definitely want to watch in full at some point. From what I've seen, though, this is spot on. He's got his weird haircut. He's got that Javier Bardem, dead stare. I love how clean the little belt buckle is, especially, and I'm not sure if it's a denim jacket. It's definitely it's probably a thick jacket like that, but just overall that whole jacket's satisfying. I think it is very subtly sculpted. The jacket on the front, like it's not too it's not too prominent, but it's just subtle enough where I can tell there's a 3D element, and I really like that.
What is the thing he's holding? Is that a tank of some sort? I don't know. I've never seen the movie.
I think it's like an air pump to blow up I think it's like a pump to blow up a tire, maybe.
Okay.
I know what he does with it, but I'm not certain.
So I've seen the movie. It's like an oxygen tank with like a release valve, and he uses that as a weapon.
Oh, nice.
So I guess you can assume what that would do to someone. But this figure's super awesome. There's like a gray highlight on the jacket. There's like a black and a light gray. Over those, I love the cuffs on this. I don't know what's used with that, whether it be like electrical tape or a paper or something, but love that it comes over the tips of the hands really nicely, and the subtle like creases in the hair, as well as like the silhouette, the shaping of it is like super perfect. So overall, I really like this figure.
Yeah, I mean, you guys pretty much hit everything that I would ever even say. Like always, it's just great paintwork as usual. Some next figures I wanted to touch on were these Drake and Josh figures by Yum Yum Customs. This is the first Drake and Josh I've seen in the community since Dylan made yours back in like 4 years ago or something like that. I actually have them in my possession, which is great. But it's always good to see some more Drake and Josh figures.
Yeah, I don't have. I don't have a ton to say, but yeah, I do. Drake and classic show, so it's always good to see I'm bopping around some figures from there. I like Drake's shirt in particular. The paint job on that, so did a good job with doing those.
Yeah, I think the likenesses are good as well. And one other thing I wanted to touch on was that Drake Bell, I think, reposted this on his story, which is always cool to see, celebrities reposting people in our community's work, so everybody else can see it. So that was good. So congrats to Yum Yum for getting that notoriety, I suppose. But yeah, some great looking figures.
Yeah, I like the hair sculpts on these, the likenesses as well. You can definitely tell who these are. That's super awesome that he's got featured on the story, so that's cool.
Yeah, and I think Yum Yum has used our hashtag, and I wanted to mention this real quick before. I don't think he used these specifically on these figures, but we have the hashtag custom recap on Instagram that you can just put on your posts, and so that allows Nate and I to actually go in and see it a lot easier if maybe you're someone that we haven't followed yet. So we can go ahead and just look there and see what kind of stuff is on that hashtag and potentially include on the show. And that's what this next figure is actually from that hashtag, and this is the Don Vito Corleone from The Godfather. And this is another one of those really cool posed figures. I haven't seen The Godfather yet, and I know that's like a crime, but this is just a really clean looking figure, and the likeness is incredible. And forgot to mention it's by Jams Figs. So yeah, absolutely cool looking figure.
I like the cheeks on this guy, especially like the ones around the mouth. Those creases are nice. The arms on this, I feel like one of them is using. There's like a company that produces like different shapes for arms. I don't remember what it's called, but it's
Crazy Arms.
Right. Okay. I think it's cool to see those arms featured in a figure. I'm pretty sure that's what these are. If not, then props to them for sculpting this. It's cool. Like I like the legs. There are some nice angles on those as well. So and also that torso's got some good detail on it.
Yeah, and I haven't seen The Godfather the bit. I can't tell if he's leaning on a chair or like leaning on something, but I honestly can't tell if he used crazy arms or not. At least for that,
I don't think they are. I think he sculpted them.
I think the elbow looks too round to be a crazy arm. Those things are pretty angular on there, so I think he made his own.
Okay.
Did a damn good job if he fooled Nate.
Well, that's a lot better than.
Yeah, that's a great looking figure. The next ones we wanted to talk about are from Tim Can 2904. Tim is an old friend of me and Dylan's. We've known him for a while, and he primarily does decaled figures. But surprisingly, the two figures we want to talk about from him have, I don't think, any decals on them, which is funny. So the first one is Zero the Hutt. Don't think I've ever seen a custom Zero the Hutt from Star Wars: The Clone Wars. It's an absolutely despicable character in the show. Just very annoying. So I don't know why he even wanted to make this, but he did a really good job at it. The paintwork of like the tattoo of the sun is really, really great looking.
Yeah, there's a lot of tiny little lines on this. My favorite part about this is like the gradient right in between the lighter color of like the chest area and the like the slug part of the back. There is it kind of like blends in super nicely. So it's really cool right there.
Dylan, you a big fan of Zero the Hutt?
I don't like to go to the Senate. Well, that's what he sounds like. Maybe. You mentioned Tim mainly does decals, which I don't know if I've ever said my stance on decals in a video or ever, but I hate decals. I just never liked them. People, there's a certain target for them, so I've never liked them. But so most of the stuff you see
you
from
just
Tim
created
is
a lot
decals.
of enemies.
That's fine.
Let the dislikes flow in.
Go ahead. Tim's gonna get the decal community in here. But I do like I said, Tim. Most of the time he's doing decals, so I really like this Zero the Hutt because this is like just full on like Tim. I guess instead of being forced to do a paint job, you can say it that way. But he probably could have done a decal for some of this, like on the front. But I just appreciate that he did paint it all, and I think it came out really great. Especially it involved the yellow paint on. I'd imagine that none of this purple paint was fun to work with either, depending on the layering, and also I really enjoy that he did paint this all for that.
Always good to see a random Star Wars character. If Tim was, well, if anybody was to make Zero the Hutt, it would be Tim, because Tim just makes so many just random Star Wars characters. We call him like the Star Wars lore master of our group, just because he knows literally everything you could possibly know about Star Wars. But the next figure we want to talk about is, I had no idea that this dude had a name, but he's from the Clone Wars, the 2003. He's from, I guess, Chapter 2 or Volume 2. And his name is Foul Mudama. He's one of the Jedi that helps protect Chancellor Palpatine and then gets killed by General Grievous. So I think Tim sculpted everything on like the head, and then he used like e-tape or some sort of vinyl material or something for the robes, or maybe even cloth. I can't really tell. But so that was a cool looking figure. I've never really seen this Jedi made before.
I love how the cloak or the robes on the sides kind of like come off at a really nice angle. It gives a lot of nice shaping to the silhouette of this figure. Kind of like has a lot way broader shoulders because of that. Also, yeah, the sculpted head is super nice.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he sculpted the head. I know Legos made this species before in Clone Wars, but it had like a big mohawk too, I think. So I think the head was a lot smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the head was a lot
the
smaller
talls,
on it
I
too.
think.
So I don't think he used that. So I do think he did do that from scratch. So I do like that, how that came out. And like Nate said, I like the robes, like also kind of forming the shoulder pads as well.
Yeah, if you guys want to see more of Tim's stuff, check him out. He's got literally every single Star Wars character known to man on his page. A lot of them are decaled.
Literally 900 Star Wars figures, pretty much.
He does minifig a day, so he's got like 900 something figures out there from Star Wars.
I think
Halo.
Zero was 900.
Oh, really? Perfect.
Yeah.
But we figured we'd keep the trend going with some more Clone Wars figures, since the 2003 Clone Wars animated series got added to Disney Plus last week. So I thought it'd be cool to include some figures from that. So we've got Captain Fordo from Volume 1 in his Phase 1 armor by No-Fi's Waffles. I think that's probably how you say his name. But this is just a cool figure, even though it's got a lot of, I think there are AV decals on there. But I believe the helmet is a resin printed helmet. That I'm not sure if this guy exactly designed it or not. I know he does a lot of 3D designing stuff, so it wouldn't surprise me if he did do that. But just thought it was cool. I haven't really seen anybody do like this animated style for Fordo before, using like a custom made helmet like this.
Yeah, I've never seen that either. I think that this is a cool piece. I like you said, I have no idea where this comes from as well, but I like the painting on that. I think it's a really nice like inset visor on that. I think that the one thing I think is interesting to look at is how the mouth like breather is done, because it's kind of like has a weird geometry on the side, like the shaping. So it's interesting how that's done. I think it looks really cool though.
And then we also had another Captain Fordo done by the Mythosaur, and this is from Volume 2 in his Phase 2 armor. And this has been something that the Mythosaur, or his name is Sander, he's been working on for a long time. I think he's had this figure sculpted for like a year or so, and he was working on getting the clone bodies casted. He got it back. He painted up his Fordo helmet and painted up the actual the figure. And this is rare for him to do, because usually he never paints. He just sculpts, and that's it, because he doesn't paint because he's afraid he's going to ruin his sculpt. But here, I think it just really elevates it, and it just looks very nice looking.
Yeah, I really like the helmet for this one in particular. This is a neat design. It's not really good. Really glad Sander was able to finally paint one. I don't know if this is a cast of it, because I don't know if he even painted his original sculpt. Like he said, he doesn't like doing that, so he might have this might be a cast, honestly, that he painted.
Yeah, I can't remember if this is the master sculpt or not. It wouldn't surprise me if it was, because I think the casted versions didn't have a removable belt. I think he wanted to do that, but with this one, he was trying to make it modular to where you could take the belt off, but I think it got casted with it on. So this one, he's got the belt and like the strap and the pauldron as one piece that I think he was planning on getting casted separately. But so I'm not exactly sure if this is his master sculpt, but it definitely looks, great. And you don't see any of the gray poking out anywhere. I think he used an airbrush for the white on this, and it, looks great. I love the red on it too.
Yeah, the white came out super clean, and it almost just looks like it was casted in white.
Yeah.
I think there's like a dark, some either gray or black wash done on this as well. Gives it a nice effect. So also those black details inside of the helmet would surprise you how like terribly difficult stuff like that is to do without making it look super messy. So props to him for being able to pull that off.
Well, since we're on a clone kick, we can go ahead and talk about some stuff from Zulu Customs. He's been somebody we've been wanting to include for a little while now, and these were two of his most recent figures. This is Commander Apo and a 212th Attack Battalion clone trooper. And what Zulu does is he uses just a Clone Army Customs helmet and then a Lego torso, and then just paints literally everything else. And honestly, when I first saw these, I was like, "Oh, are those printed bodies that I've been seeing floating around, or are those decals?" But no, he paints them, and they just look super clean and just super crisp looking. I love all the battle damage on it too.
Yeah, a lot of these figures are like such small lines carried out throughout the whole thing is really, really like satisfying to kind of consider that this is all painted minus the chest details and the face like you're mentioning, but like those arms and on the sides of the torso, how it's kind of carried out is really nice. So I'll always love seeing some cool painted figures as opposed to printed or decaled. So nice to see how consistent like the details on this are.
I love the vibrancy of the colors too. I think those are absolutely perfect. The source material.
Yeah, I guess if just to add my 2 cents, custom clones aren't really my forte. I've never been something I've too been into, but I like the battle damage and the chipping, especially on the orange one there, with the 212th with the chipping of the damage and things like that. Just comes out really good battle damage and things of that nature.
Yeah. I mean, I think he did a great job, and he's got a lot of stormtroopers too that he's done. So I can't wait to include some more of his work. But moving on to the next batch of figures we got is from some stuff from Benson Bone. Last time we talked about his light up clone commando, and here we have a full squad of them. So he managed to make 3 more of them, and they're all done in like the same vein where they're using decals mainly, but then also some printed elements. And I believe these are based off of a fan film called Shadow of the Republic. So these are just a really cool squad of troopers to look at.
Yeah, the first one was great, and now there's 3 more of them. I do think that like maybe something is different with those visors. Like the main one, the first one has got like a lighter colored one. I don't know if that's intentional because like it's probably from like the source material, I'm sure. But I love a lot of the 3D elements on this. And like I mentioned previously, the same file for the shoulder pads, backpack, and the helmet is the one that I worked with him on that, changing it a little bit, and now that's the same one that's on my store currently. So it's nice to see like a lot of different figures done with those pieces.
Yeah, I mean those look great. I think we talked about this last time, but were those like downscaled from like a actual size armor set or like a 1/12 or 1/6 scale armor set, and then compatible with Lego?
Yeah, so it was like exactly just what you said, and then he sent me over what he had, and then I further modified it, cleaning up the visor and a lot of different things, adding a sight on the head to put in Clone Army Customs accessories and stuff. So there's a lot of cool collaborations with that. And then in the future too, I'll be doing like the rest of the armor. So
yeah, it's going to be great looking. I absolutely love seeing more Commando stuff. And once you start coming out with stuff like that, I'll probably pick up a full set of 4 so I can make Delta Squad because they've been on my bucket list for a while. But Dylan, have you made anything that can light up? Because I know you've done some kind of crazy stuff, but I don't know if you've done that before.
No, I have not. I haven't delved into that. I know Jared's getting real into the light up stuff, and Benson now too. But no, I've never strayed that far yet.
Should have made Godzilla light up.
Yeah, cry me a river.
Drill a hole in it and put a light in there, please. No, actually don't. Moving on, we've got a Vincent Van Gogh from the Pepper Spray Customs. I haven't really seen anybody do a Vincent figure, and I think this was inspired by your Kid Cudi, Nate. Pretty sure he said that in the description. So
nice.
I think he kind of just took like a more kind of artistically stylized drawing of Vincent Van Gogh or a self-portrait and then translated it into Lego. And I just thought it looked really unique. Never seen anything like that, really done before.
Did he paint that Starry Night on that tile, or is that a decal? I can't tell.
I think that's got to be printed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's like printed off of like a paper label or something, but
okay. I couldn't tell. It looked almost painted, but I couldn't tell.
Yeah, the figure itself just looks great, even if that little painting is printed. The figure's where it really really stands out.
Yeah, I like the face and the hair on this one. Really cool to see. Like I said with the dude with the cigarette earlier. I don't remember the name of that dude, but
I'll get you, bitch.
That one, yeah, I really like the uniqueness of the source material of whatever this figure is from. Just I guess it's probably from like a self portrait or someone. I think it's probably from the self portrait of Vincent Van Gogh, but it's really cool just
I'd
to see
assume a self
like the
portrait.
unique figures made.
He had some unique
Yeah,
art.
You could call it that, but yeah, definitely a cool figure. Moving on, we've got a Jackie Chan from My Lucky Stars by Agil's Customs. He does a lot of kung fu related figures, so it's great to see him make a Jackie Chan. Only thing I really want to say on this is I really like the collar, especially where it's kind of like the jacket collar's like flipped open with the buckle, and then I think the likeness is good as well.
a lot of the wrinkles on this I really enjoy. They're subtle, but like do definitely give you like the feeling that this is like a jumpsuit like thing. It's really nice. I think it's cool that he used the hair that he did. I in the past really didn't like this hair, but I think that it really works for this figure. So props to them for putting that in there and making it work so well.
I feel bad because I'm just repeating, but yeah, I like the collar on the jacket, and I like the colors on it with the contrast of the gray and the red.
Fair enough. Moving on, we've got some more DC figures sprinkled out, and these are kind of more relevant since the trailer for Suicide Squad came out recently. And these are Rick Flag, Peacemaker, and Thinker by Joe Mama Figs.
I forgot his name was Joe Mama Figs. That's a great name.
His picture is Wanda, or his vision with the do-rag and the chain and everything.
Wanda. Yeah, but these are all three of these are really good. I did not realize Rick Flag had camouflage pants, so props to him for painting camouflage. I really like the shotgun that he's got with Rick Flag as well, and Peacemaker's helmet, and he's got some little pecs sculpted for John Cena there. And I also really like for the Thinker, who I think's a Flash villain. I really don't know much about some of these characters, but
I have no idea who it is.
I'm pretty sure the Thinker's a Flash villain. So I really like. I'm not sure if he drilled in the head or just glued him on. I think he just glued him on, but I really like all the little prongs coming out of him for his pinhead looking head. For that, and he does have like the hint of a Hawaiian shirt on there too with the little flowers, which is always a pain to do. Anything Hawaiian shirt related is never fun to do. So cool that he did that too.
Totally agree with everything you guys both said on this. I think that silver helmet's really nice. I'm sure there's like a sculpted band on top. I guess this is probably like the first John Cena minifig I've ever seen. I don't know if I'll ever
Won't
see
be the
another
last
one, but yeah, I guess probably people will make some more figures of this. But these are all really, really nice and cool to see them making these so quickly after that trailer.
One thing I really wanted to touch on was the likeness for the Thinker. I know that's just a vulture head, but I honestly think that head is like absolutely perfect for whoever the actor is. I've seen him a couple times, but like that head just works so well for it.
There is a head for that.
Oh,
actor.
really?
He's one of the Doctor Who guys, the one with the purple shirt.
No.
Huh.
Yeah, that is the same actor. So like I've seen people been using that one for like purist ones. So. But yeah, that head works.
I don't
really
remember,
well.
but
yeah, that head works really well too.
Yeah.
But there is actually an actor for, I think his name's like Peter Capullo or something. I butchered the last name probably, but he actually does have a head for that actor.
Oh, cool. Yeah, well, I'm excited to see if Joe Mama makes some more figures from Suicide Squad, and I hope that film is decent. Dylan, I bet. Yeah, right.
Oh, I love the name.
Joe Mama?
Yeah, I love the Joe. It's
a great name.
It's a great name.
It's absolutely great. Moving on, we've got some stuff from Aussie Figs. Dylan, I'm going to let you take the floor with his Atriox from Halo Wars 2, because this is something you've been itching to talk about.
Oh my God, I love it so much. He started this thing a long time ago because I remember asking him about it on his story, like at least maybe a year ago, maybe not that long, but him posting this came out of nowhere, and like the sculpt is insane. Like you could tell he's already painted the head, obviously, which I've never technically understood that. Like there's a lot of people in the community I have found that like paint stuff while they're still sculpting the rest of the figure, which I've never personally done, and I think you're insane to do that. But if it works for you, it works for you. But obviously, so he's got the head painted, and that looks fantastic on its own already. But like just the entire he's obviously got some kind of armature in there to get this size. It's obviously bigger than a normal figure. Just he does a lot of dry sculpting. Y'all talked about this with his Reach figures, but yeah, this like just a lot of crisp edges that have to be dry sculpted to get that clean. So, and like, just if you're looking at the robot hand in particular, like just
I was
all
about
the
to say.
fingers, like the detail in each of those fingers and everything. If I did, I'm gushing over. If I did want to critique, I guess one thing, I guess it seems like the toes are lacking detail compared to the rest. But I've also haven't seen a reference for Atriox like straight up just to know. So that's probably 100% accurate to how it looks. So it's probably not even a fault of his. But
You're telling me you don't Google Atriox toes?
No, I have not Googled Atriox toes. I have seen Halo Wars 2 all cutscenes, but I have not seen Atriox toes, no. And I'm hoping he makes his weapon too. I know Atriox has kind of like a gravity hammer, but that's like a mace essentially, like a glowing red mace gravity hammer looking thing. So I really hope he makes that too at some point for it. I don't know how he'll do the trans red for it, but I hope that gets made to go along with him because I know he's making. Aaron, do you remember that Spartan's name? Is it? It's not. Is it Jerome? I don't.
Jerome.
What's that one Spartan?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he's making Jerome too. I saw on his page. So, it'd be cool if he does make the axe to go with Atriox too, though.
This figure makes me physically tired just looking at it, just thinking about how long that took to sculpt. Because I'm just like, that is so much detail in like. This is something that I've noticed recently, especially with Aussie Figs, is that they can just make sculpts all day, just every single day. It's something new. It's like today when we're recording this, it was his what's his name? Red Guardian from Black Widow. Then it was, Atriox was recent, Taskmaster was recent. Like it's like a new sculpt every day, and I'm just like, this stuff is so good. I have no idea how Ozzy's able to just make a new sculpt like seemingly every single day. It's like I would get so tired, and I can do like one little piece of armor here and there, but they just have like this insane drive to just churn out just super detailed and super nice looking sculpts. It's just crazy, and it makes me exhausted thinking about all of the work that would have to go into something like that.
Dylan mentioned a lot of the dry sculpted bits on the hand and a lot of the armor bits on this. I love the all the tiny mechanical things done with this figure, as well as the faces, like just contrasting those mechanical bits is like an organic shape, and then like all of like the armor and stuff is like such a contrast. It's really cool use. I think the one thing that I don't particularly like about this is just the fact that it uses like a standard Lego hand. It's like everything about this looks like it's not Lego, and then just that subtle Lego hand peeking out right there. I think, especially compared to like the robotic hand on the side, I think might benefit from using the same technique Dylan did with the King Kong figure of just the what was that? The cup piece, the mug. Yeah. I think that would be like maybe my one critique.
I think that might be a flashlight hand already.
Really?
Though. Unless it's just, I think like unless it's that massive. I honestly I can't tell. It might be a normal hand, but I feel, unless it's not as big as I think it is. But I feel like that might already be a flashlight.
Well, I guess
hand.
maybe then I'm wrong, but yeah. Overall, this is just incredible. And then like recently, they've just been putting out figure after figure after figure, and just these incredibly detailed sculpts that like are unmatched right now. I think is just super. It's almost like makes me a little upset too. It's just like, man, how do you have this much time? But it's just super awesome to see like so much high quality figures coming out from Aussie Figs recently. So definitely give them a follow and check out all their stuff they're putting out, because there's a ton of stuff that they are posting recently. Yeah,
and real quick, we did want to show one of Aussie's painted figures. It seems like we talk about their sculpting a lot, but they do have painted figures. We talked about their Ahsoka one of the previous times, but this is Zemo from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And just thought this was a great looking figure, and I haven't seen a lot of Zemos out there just yet. But like Scarlet Witch and Vision, I'm sure we will as the show progresses on and Zemo's in it a little more. But the sculpting on this figure is just great. Love the trench coat on it, and the mask is great looking as well. But that takes us to our next figure, which is Howie, or just Adam Sandler from Uncut Gems, made by Cave Customs. This is a great looking figure. It's pretty simple in terms of paintwork, but I just think the likeness is really nice on this. We've seen a couple custom of these figures out there before. I've never seen Uncut Gems, so I'm not like too familiar with the character, but heard it's a good movie, and I'm glad to see more figures from it.
Yeah, I think the face on this is done extremely well. I know Tossy Figs, I think, has like the definitive Howie figure out there, but this one is also really awesome. It's a little bit simpler, but I think you can definitely tell who it's supposed to be. And I almost like that it is a bit simpler. It kind of has a little bit more of like a traditional Lego feel.
Yeah, the likeness is really good, and I like the design of the figure overall. With the yellow shirt on the black jacket, just good contrast, and most restful movie I've ever seen, and I will never watch it again because of that.
Jeez, you make it sound so great.
It's good for one watch only, but good lord, don't watch it again.
Oh man. All right, I'll keep that in mind. Moving on, we've got this cool Aaron Yeager Titan made by Captain Bricks Customs. And yeah, I haven't watched Attack on Titan, but one of our friends, Delta.png, or just Delta Customs, Andy, he is a big fan. And this is a figure that he had showed me at one point. And Dylan, you also wanted to include this figure as well, just because it is made in that's a flashlight figure base, right? Or is that a keychain with that square crotch piece?
Yeah, it's got to be a flashlight because of the crotch.
Yeah, but that's just a great looking figure with the sculpt work and everything, and it looks absolutely menacing looking too.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen Attack on Titan yet, but that's great looking.
I guess to avoid spoilers too. I mean, I don't know if you already said the name, but this is a Titan from the show.
I did.
Okay, cut that. It's been a long time since I've seen this show. I definitely haven't seen it all. I saw some of it, like probably just season 1, but I love the just the head on this one, mostly like the teeth and there's a couple scars on there, a couple scattered blood, the blood coming out the bottom of it, the mouth, the eyes, the strand of hair coming down the front. Just really cool figure. A lot of flesh paint, which is also annoying, especially it's matte flesh paint. So, yeah, just really pleasing figure to look at, and nice little backdrop too, with the wall with the city back there and a couple of rocks and things. So a nice little setup for the photo too.
When I first saw this figure, I really liked everything except for the head. Really was like, I kind of was thinking, why didn't they just use like a standard minifig head? Until I realized that if they did that, it would have looked super weird. So then I really appreciated the head. So I think like the detail of the teeth and the eyes came out super well. And then just comparing to what I would think about if they just did the standard like Lego head and just painted on it, it wouldn't have looked like near as good. So overall, I think this is like a super really cool iteration of this character. And then I have seen this like ages and ages ago, but from what I remember, I think this is like pretty spot on to what it looks like in the show.
Dylan, you made a Titan at some point a couple of years ago, didn't you?
Yeah, I made the Colossal Titan, but as just a normal little minifigure, and you constantly remind me of it by stretching it out over my end of year photos when you edit them.
Yeah.
I'll never forget
playing
that
dumb
figure.
there.
I will never forget that figure because of it.
Yeah, Dylan had me make business cards for him for Brick Fair one year, and I almost was able to sneak that on there without him noticing. I like made it very transparent, just in the background, and it was just stretched all the way, so it was super like deformed looking. It was incredible. That figure has a special place in my heart, and I kind of want it.
I mean,
so
at this point, you can have it if you want it. It's somewhere in here. I gotta find it.
Make a V2.
Guess what? The back's not painted.
Make it.
It's a classic that era.
Who would have thought?
It's a classic that era Dylan figure.
Has that ever changed? Do you ever paint the backs of figures anymore?
Yeah.
That's a no. Cape, all right, moving on.
If they don't have a cape or something covering it up, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
What?
Moving on, we've got...
harass me.
You signed up for it, bud. All right, moving on. Nate, I don't know if you want to take the reins on this one. This is from Aerofigs, who I know you're a big fan of.
Definitely. I guess this is, I have no idea like half the figures that they put out, but I guess this is Shiro from Voltron, the Netflix one, I think. I really, really like the style of figures that they make. It's got like a cartoony feel, and I think a lot of them are just like super fun and enjoyable to look at. Plus, like the source material is something I'm like completely unfamiliar with, so I just think it's fun to see stuff that no one else is making. But the hair on this, I really, really like. I'm not sure what they use as a base. You can see like on the sides, definitely there is like a Lego hairpiece underneath, but a lot of those like those sculpted bits that make the more of like an anime look. I love how that's done. It's like only like 4 or 5 different strands in there, but all of them together make like a really nice shaping. I guess this character in the other photos on this has like a like a floating hand. They didn't make that, but I do think it's cool. Just the overall design of this figure is really nice. Like I said, I don't know why I love Aerofigs work so much, but they just keep putting out figures I really enjoy seeing. So they are like, and their photography is really nice. It's like top notch. So they just keep surprising me and keep impressing me.
I really like the lighting on this as well. Like every single photo is very crisp, and it's always kind of like offset, so the figure's not directly in the center, which is a cool aesthetic. And he always has like some little burst of different colored light that really adds to the photo. So that's something I just wanted to touch on real quick.
Yeah, I like the hairpiece. I like the little anime line below the eyeballs that they have sometimes. I don't know how to describe it, but I know what it is supposed to be. And I like the pink light on the right there, like for the effect of the photo.
Yeah, right on. All right, moving on, we've got a Mark I Iron Man made by Altered Brick Studios. Haven't seen a lot of Iron Men recently, so it's always cool to see one, especially the Mark I. I think the helmet on this might be from some third-party company. I'm not exactly sure because that looks really familiar. That might be like an old Amazing Armory piece, but I'm not exactly sure. But everything else looks like it is sculpted by Altered Brick Studios, if I'm not mistaken, and just a really nice sculpt job, if that's the case.
I don't know. I feel like I thought this was a sculpted helmet, but if not, everything else looks incredible as well. I know for sure those like seam lines of like the weld lines on the helmet, I'm sure those are sculpted just because the color is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But all the detail on this, super high quality, and haven't seen a lot of figures from Altered Brick Studios, but this one is definitely a highlight for me. I love seeing the Mark I done, and all these sculpted bits are really nice to look at.
Yeah, and I think this is just the sculpt. He hasn't even painted it yet. So I'm excited to see what it actually looks like with like some steel and silver and gunmetal paint work on there.
Right.
So that'll be definitely something to look forward to.
Yeah, the helmet reminds me a lot of Picovam or whatever his name was. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was old Picovam or if it was Amazing Armor. I can't remember exactly who did that Mark I. It's a classic helmet, though. All right, yeah, well, moving on to our last figure that we want to talk about. This is by Detroitica, and this is his multicam black figure. So just using some black camouflage paintwork on this. And one thing that Detroitica usually does is, his name's Tanner. He usually always does like accessories. He's real big into like his cool mods and everything. And whenever he does like a painted figure, he always likes to carve in the details. So like you'll notice on the zippers on this figure especially, you can see where he carved it in and then like painted a little bit in there. And he also did it on the boots as well, just to, so everything doesn't look, super thick that, where some paintwork can clump up and stuff, but it's just a really cool aesthetic. And he's like the only one that I know of that does that. So it's something that's super unique to him.
Yeah, I've only ever done this on one custom. It was my driver figure. On the vest, I did like a bunch of like kind of bubbly textured, like you can tell there's like stuffing inside of the vest. But I think like that's probably like my favorite part about this is just the torso. And I don't know about the legs and arms. I'm sure they are as well. But just from the photo I'm looking at right now, I can't remember specifically what it is. But those horizontal lines carved in, really cool technique done. So really cool figure.
Yeah, fun fact with Tanner, he's actually a psychopath to do all this. He's very, very meticulous, very detailed with everything he does. I think the military community is really big onto like carving in. Cause I remember Billy does that too. Bill Bobful, when he paints boots on figures, he'll like carve the top of the boot into the leg before painting it. So he's one other person I know does it, but I know it's big in the military community a lot, especially for camouflage. And as far as I'm aware, Tanner here is probably the king of doing that. I haven't dived too deep into the military community, but I know Tanner does this a lot, and he's real good at what he does.
I'm excited to include more of his stuff in the show because he's got like a lot of just great gun mods that I think we should definitely put in here because the dude is insane, especially when he makes like swords and stuff. He has like a lathe that he uses to get like perfect circular cuts when he does stuff. And whenever he does swords,
I said, psychopath.
Yeah, he makes them like socket into the actual hilt piece so the blade just won't snap off. So it's actually like anchored in there like a real sword. And Yeah, so psychopath in the best possible way.
Wow.
It's just absolutely nuts.
No, I think he's awful.
Jeez. But yeah, a great figure. But that kind of concludes all of the figures that we really wanted to talk about. So now we're kind of moving on to just stuff that we've done. So Dylan, we'll start off with you of what projects you're currently working on, if you want to give us a little rundown.
So I'm assuming the picture's up at this point in the video, but I'm like I mentioned, Hawk Girl. I'm doing the last of my Justice League members, so doing the classic Hawk Girl with the Wolverine looking mask. So I'm working on that. You can see there's the sculpt so far. It's just over one of those modded classic Lego female hair pieces. So I'm curious of how it's going to turn out once I paint it. I think it's going to look weird no matter what, because the mask is a 3D element and it's going to have 2D painted eyes on it, similar to how Batman was. So it's going to definitely look weird from certain angles, but I feel like it'll work out in the end. It'll fit with the rest of them. And I curved her torso already, so I got Brick Warrior's wings for her, so it's just a matter of how I'm going to attach those. And then on the right there, I feel like I'm really going to like this when it's finished, but I'm working on King Shark from the new Suicide Squad trailer. This is like pretty much a perfect character design for me personally to make. He's just a fat great white shark with a dad bod and golf pants, so he's absolutely hilarious in my opinion, and I'm very looking forward to that character. So I'm already starting mine, and this is where I'm at with it right now. I got his, he's gonna be fat. I've done more since this picture actually, but for now that's pretty much where he's at. He's got his gut, his man tits, his big old butt, and he's just gonna be quite the plump lad. Just not to toot my own horn, but I'm going to be pleased with it. It's going to be probably a top 10 figure, I would hope. But
probably, I would hope so.
And then other thing I worked on, this is actually finished, completely out of left field as well, but I made a train specifically. It was just going to be a normal train, and then it just became a Thomas and Friends character, which was a big part of my childhood. So it ended up becoming James, and it's pretty much just a brick built thing. But custom wise, I did paint a face over one of those like 4x4 dish pieces on the front there. So that paint, that mouth and eyes and all, that's 100% painted by me. And then all of the black pinstripes on the above the wheel arches there and on the tender, I also painted, and I painted the number 5 on the tender as well and outlined those in black. So technically just a brick built thing, but I did do some customizing on it as well that I just wanted to show off real quick.
Definitely a unique, I can't call that a figure, but yeah, a unique custom. I've never seen anybody make that before. Yeah, the face is super clean looking, and I'm glad you actually did that. Because when you sent it one time, it looks like you had edited it, like you did it in like Paint or something, Microsoft Paint. But you're just like, oh no, I did everything except for the eyes, and I was like, holy shit, that looks pretty good. So definitely a unique thing coming from you. I never took you to make a custom train before.
I could be a train guy.
You could be a train guy, I guess. Add that onto the list. But moving on to, I guess, stuff that I've been working on. I talked about this stuff last time. This is the band Hers. I was working on these guys last time, and I posted them on Instagram like right afterward that we talked about them last time. But I finished them. They're just an indie rock band that I made and had some help from TheMooseFigs on the faces on those guys, and I was really happy with them. Then I mentioned these guys earlier on in this video. These are some Magna Guards that I got from Custom Brick Builder and then painted them up, and they look really nice. I'll be doing a video on these guys shortly. And then in terms of stuff that I am working on, I've got some Phantom Menace figures that I'm trying to pump out here real soon for May 4th. So I'm working on Obi-Wan. He's almost done. And then I've got Padme in her Queen Amidala outfit. I got a new Darth Maul because I need to redo that awful face. And then I'm doing Jar Jar, of course. And then the last thing is a 1/12 scale action figure that I'm working on, and it's a pre-Vizsla. So Hasbro's never made one, and Bandai or no other model kit brand has done one, so I figured I'd do that myself. So that's just been a project I've been working on, and I'm actually getting some help from Nate on that.
Yeah, I was able to print up this jetpack. You provided me with a file, so I finally got around to doing that and getting it to work well. So it'll be really cool. I've been seeing the progress you've been making on that pre-Vizsla, and it's like incredibly good looking. So But a little bit of what I'm doing, I got a lot of different helmets coming up here in the future. I've got this ODST helmet. This will be put up here pretty soon. I'm going to be doing like a little bit of the armor, probably at least like the chest and arms, if not maybe like a leg thing, probably just the chest and arms, other than this helmet for the ODSTs, as well as like some helmet attachments probably in the future as well. And then I've got a Batman helmet for the Battison movie. I don't know, the Batman movie coming up. Did that one. And a lot of people have been picking that one up, and I've hope to see a lot of stuff done with that here pretty soon. But I'm also doing a like more generic Batman, like just you could use it for like really anything, like comic version or whatever, and I'm sure it could be just modified into anything, but it's going to be another one that will line up with the eyes really nicely. So that I've been mentioning this for a while, but I am finally starting to work on the Iron Man helmet, so that'll be coming out pretty soon. And also I'm going to be finishing up the Noble team with the armor, the add-on armor, and then I'll start on my Halo Infinite stuff, so with the Master Chief. And then also I picked up a downsized sideshow, I believe.
It's Hot Toys.
Hot Toys, okay. A Hot Toys Mandalorian helmet from OT_customs, and painted that up. That prompted me to 3D print a like magnetized shoulder armor for like my custom Dinjarin like 6-inch figure, the Black Series one. And I will be in the future selling some of these, as well as like just general armor parts for 6-inch figures.
Excellent.
So that's something I'm looking forward to. And then if anyone has like suggestions, whatever, I'm open to those as well. And so yeah, that's kind of like what I've got going on. It's probably it for me.
Sound busy. You got a lot of stuff on your plate.
Very busy.
Yeah, I got to say, I love that ODST helmet. I know Dylan's a big fan of that too, but that just the sculpt on that is like absolutely perfect, and I'm definitely going to pick up a few of those because that just looks great. And the paint job that you put on there just looks super nice as well.
Yeah, quite a big.
I
told you this in private, but the ODST thing is probably my favorite thing you've modeled so far, so I quite enjoy it.
Thanks.
Yeah, so that's going to be definitely a hot item, I imagine. But other than that, I think that pretty much wraps up everything that we wanted to talk about in this episode of Custom Recap. Again, if you guys want your stuff to be included, just be considered to be included in future episodes, just use that hashtag Custom Recap over on Instagram, and we'll take a peek there every now and again before we start filming new episodes. I want to thank Dylan for joining us on this episode. I know it was a little bit longer. We were trying to shorten it down, but we had a lot of stuff to go over, and I think that'll be fine because there's a lot of great figures in this episode. So again, thank you so much for joining us, Dylan.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, we had a lot of figures for me to repeat the same things that y'all said for them for a lot. But I appreciate being here. I had a lot of fun doing this. So I hope to be in either more of these or whatever y'all cook up for what y'all do with these. I'm glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, I was going to say we might be doing like interview style episodes where it's like a short little just highlight or spotlight on a specific customizer. So if that's something that these people would want to see, just let us know. We'll probably do one on Dylan first since he's already, been on the show. So it'd be good to just really focus on some of his stuff. So if you guys have any questions you'd like to ask him, leave those down in the comments. Trying to think if there's anything else. Nate, you got any closing thoughts or anything you've been wanting to say?
Just encourage everyone to go check everyone out that we featured in the video, as well as, like you mentioned, use that hashtag. And yeah, check out Dylan's stuff on Instagram and YouTube, and as well as Aaron's and mine. The last episode was on my channel. This episode will be going up on Aaron's. So if you missed the last one, that's where you can find it, just Nate's Minifigs on YouTube. So I think that's about it.
All right. Sounds good. Well, again, thank you guys for watching this video, and let us know your guys' thoughts down in the comments, and we will see you guys later.